96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
This morning, and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. By now, you have probably heard the news. The Bahamian Queen of Soul has passed on from this realm. We take a moment to share condolences with the friends and family, the loved ones, the community, the music community, the entertainers community, the cultural community. We're all going to take a moment just to say, we stand with you in your time of despair. We stand with you to celebrate a true Bahamian legend, Priscilla Jasmine Rollins. Independence morning is like Priscilla Rollins, Mr. Nuri, a national treasure.
Okay, yeah.
A cultural
Definitely a
gem.
cultural icon.
Yeah.
When independence comes around, you expect to hear a song.
Yeah.
Right? Her song trumps everyone other song. And you don't want that particular song sung by anyone else. You want her to sing her song.
Right.
Right?
And it's a moment for me. I had Priscilla Rollins on my show, I think, last year. I want to send a special shout out and thank you to Veronica Bishop, who joined Priscilla upstairs, could manage the stairs. That's okay. You know, she had a little problem with her legs and her knees. Mm-hmm. And Veronica sat downstairs with her to do the interview via Zoom.
Okay.
You know, and I just that moment where Veronica said, you know what, I'm going to sit with Priscilla and we're going to do the interview here. I want to say thank you to her because that enabled us to have a conversation with Ms. Rollins about her career. I just want to do a little brief bio, and then we're going to transition. Priscilla Jasmine Rollins, affectionately known as the Bahamian Queen of Soul, is a Bahamian entertainer and international recording artist. Born in Nassau, Bahamas, Priscilla got her musical start as a teenager singing with her mother in a now defunct gospel group of the late 50s, 60s called the Straughns Choral Group. As a teenager, she also honed her skills singing at various talent shows and matinee dances. In the mid to late 60s, Priscilla joined producer Cedric Munning's group, the Mighty Makers. The group gained much national success and limited international notoriety. The group performed at almost all of the hot spots of the era, such as the Pointral Highway and a club called Sin. In 1972, Priscilla left the group to pursue a solo career, teaming up with famed Bahamian producer and entertainer Tony McKay, a.k.a. Exuma. McKay took her to New York, where she recorded her first album on the now defunct Roulette label. And if you didn't know, Tony McKay wrote that song for Priscilla Rollins to sing for Independence Day. And just a celebration. He also wrote, I guess, a companion to Obeah Man called Obeah Woman for Priscilla Rollins. Anyway, we don't have a lot of time this morning on Thursday. I'm going to try put together that playlist, Priscilla Rollins playlist, and some other classics from that era as we begin to figure out how to celebrate her properly. It's a quick story. When the Gulf War started as Operation Desert Shield, like in the 90s, my sister and I and my housekeeper, we were glued to the TV. It was a weekday. It was the summer. And I turned to the CNN and the U.S. news channels just paraded, this military operation in front of us. And I said to her, what would you do if the PM declared war or we were attacked? And my housekeeper looked at me and said, look here, if Pinland tell me it's time to go to war to defend the Bahamas, I would gather as much rock and bottle and conch shell as I could find in my homeland, Andros, and I waiting for orders. Well, if the Ministry of Tourism had an army, Priscilla Rawlins was their best officer. She was always ready for the call to duty, always ready to represent her country, always ready to use her voice to build, to grow, to promote the country, the Bahamas. We miss you already, Priscilla, but we're going to fill the airwaves with the gifts that you've left us. I also want to take a moment to recognize that Andrea Sweeting, Sister Breast Cancer Support Group president, passed away also on the 10th of February, 2024. Sweeting had just celebrated her 75th birthday on February 7th. And from her family, they share, we are deeply saddened by the loss of our hero. Our hearts are broken. However, we are comforted by the countless lives she has touched. Heaven has gained our precious gem. We'll talk a bit more about Ms. Sweeting as well on Thursday. Two phenomenal women that have dedicated their whole lives to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. A text here that says, Miss Green, love your show. Your opening song made me cry. Great singer with an angel voice. R.I.P. Miss Rawlins, you will be greatly missed. Indeed, you will be greatly missed. Like I say, on Thursday, I put together a playlist, and we can play some Priscilla Rawlins music. You'll be surprised by the scope of her discography. You would be surprised. Joining me in studio this morning is Mr. C.A. Nuri. Good morning, Mr. Nuri.
Good morning, Erin. Thanks for allowing me to be on your show this morning. Monday. I didn't expect it to rain, but it's wet.
Yeah. I saw a weather report being shared online, and we should expect wind and rain today and tomorrow, and probably dying off on Wednesday. So be prepared. Stay tuned to Guardian Radio for regular weather reports. Check out the Guardian website if you want to check in on the weather, but stay alert. Stay alert. Ms. Nuri, there's lots to talk about in the paper this morning. Plus, I have a couple of stories that were of interest to me. I found these 3 stories in last week's papers all about high-end residential and commercial developments across the island of New Providence. And they're just of interest to me. Plus, the government says that they're turning downtown into a smart city. At least they say they're going to start implementing some smart city infrastructure. So I wouldn't mind talking about that. It looks like we're becoming a smart country because Bahamas, to be site of SpaceX landings, is in today's Tribune. The phone line producer, Nuri. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Green and Mr. Nuri.
Good morning, ma'am.
I know you said that you're going to talk about Priscilla a little later down, but I'm compelled to call because I was just hoping that people would give her dues. And so I figured that I would hear it from you.
Yes, ma'am, talk it. Let's talk it.
Because you're a cultural person. I always follow you. I don't call, but I always listen. I, too, have a great desire to see Bahamian music and the artists and all of the entertainers move beyond. Mm-hmm. But I would like to say condolences to her family as a person who's very much into music myself. And I know if anyone I would hear it from, it would be you on this show. This is why I specifically tuned in.
Thank
so
you.
I'm going to continue to listen and let's all give her what is due to her. I think that more needs to be done for all of them.
Well, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Right. And it has to be more substantial, right?
Yes.
It can't just be oh, they'll get an honor, or, or we'll recognize them at the ceremony.
Exactly.
We need to create monumental moments for our monumental people. Thank you
And
very
you know what I
much.
like about you? You ever sort of refer to you as a person who is still young, but you have no problem recognizing persons who are older and would have contributed. For example, the lady, I think she died in Grand Bahama, Miss Lewis.
Yes.
She had a unique voice.
Mm-hmm.
And so persons like those, who have gone on have to be remembered. So I congratulate you for doing what you're doing, and Mr. Nuri as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right.
And we're not going to make it political, but these people in particular, the artists, the culturalists, the impact that they've had on tourism, they are stakeholders. They craft the product that we sell, right? And so we're going to get back to more of that after this caller. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. You there? All right. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Miss Green, and good morning, Mr. Neary.
Good morning.
I send condolences to Miss Rollins' family,
Yes,
And,
that's what we're doing.
friends, and the culture community, like you mentioned.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking, like, what could we do? And I started thinking, like, how you saying, like, maybe name some things after her, and we should have already done it while she was alive. But, I mean, and maybe the old bridge is not qualified enough, but, something like how we'll do it. So Sydney point there, because Neri, I only wanted to tell you last week, but Erin was talking sports, and then you to come on with something else. I think you had the Rastafarian people on.
Yes, House of
I wanted to tell
Rastafari
you,
fashion show.
I heard she was reading some of the things, Miss Green was reading some of the things what happened last week. And condolences to Miss Wheaton family too, Miss Green.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. What I want to tell you, Neri, it sound like, in the Christmas I tell Miss Green, you sound like you get no job boxes, like you really expressing yourself when you're being passionate. And what I didn't mean, you was talking about how them number boys, the web shop owners, them need to keep their cars and keep their this. And I was telling you so much, I agree with that. And it's like, I don't know if they get the message or the memo, but it sounds like they go into or considering building some, affordable homes. Maybe some other things you could tell them whilst they listening, what you suggest, how they should go about it, high end or whatever, whilst it's still affordable but it look good. Either do split levels and different. It might be some things them you might want them to a certain way on behalf of us, the people, not for you. But hats off. I think they hear you. They be listening to the show and
Mr.
the
Nuri.
show. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, Papa. Thank you. Let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. You still there?
Good morning.
Morning, sir. How are you?
And good morning to your co-host.
Good morning.
I'm calling simply because, first of all, let me give my condolences on behalf of my family and myself to the family of Priscilla Rollins. We have lost one of our icons yet again. And yet again, we wait until they die before we start talking about the contributions that they would have made. Priscilla was suffering for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And albeit some of us were trying to assist wherever we could. But those who have all of the resources, as a matter of fact, when Priscilla Rollins was hired by the Ministry of Tourism some years ago, not under this administration,
Mm-hmm.
she was actually let go. She was right down there on Junkanoo Beach. You may recall that, where she had her band playing there during the day for the tourists. And I heard the Honorable Minister this morning on radio talking about what they're doing for. They talk all about downtown and what they want to do about downtown. But what about the other areas of the Bahamas, the other areas of New Providence? Why is it only downtown that's gathering their attention? And why are they not incorporating the music and performing arts in their product improvement? I mean, I'm sick and tired of listening to the rhetoric. And all these tourists that come to the country via cruise ships, they're not benefiting us. They want to keep them corralled right there on that new port, as opposed to them filtering into the island and experiencing the Bahamian experience like a Priscilla Rollins used to do. So we got to stop the foolishness in this country. Unless the Bahamian rise up and tell these politicians that they're not going to be allowed to continuously abuse and neglect our people, we're going to be in this condition. So I don't want to get off on a negative note, but I'm really, really disturbed by the fact that we had people like Priscilla Rollins, who were still able, in some regards, to contribute, but she was never used. Her services were it. And we also lost a great pianist in the person of Palm Woods, and we extend our condolences to her family as well.
Oh no! Good. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So my point is, and the minister this morning, he didn't even extend condolences, whether intentionally or unintentionally. He should be in a position to know these things. And so those people that they got in these tourism ministries who are spending up our money foolishly, talking a bunch of foolishness, need to deal with the areas that cause tourism to be what it is. And in large measure, that was the entertainment industry.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for letting me vent this morning, because I'm really disturbed by this.
Absolutely.
And we need to do better.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Mr. Nuri, that's why I like to play a lot of Gumbe music, right? Because it creates an opportunity for us to explore the role of music and the cultural space and the cultural stakeholders in the creation and in the maintenance, the sustaining, the growth of our tourism product. And tourism is everybody's business. Let's mean it. Let's mean it. But the callers have raised a question that we often ask. Is it time to shift from charity to structural reform? Is it time for us to focus on structural reform versus charity? Is it time for us to create systems where those that have more can contribute to the reform of these systems so they can become more effective and efficient on behalf of the Bahamian people, as opposed to Bahamian people having to turn to them for handouts, for charity, for charitable support? I got a caller on the line, and then we're going to get to a story. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. You still there?
You?
Yes, good morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah. I think, this conversation is trending, along the lines, it's very important, that a new mindset has to be created among our leaders. Okay?
Yes.
Now I know after every election, each group has to pledge allegiance to the king or the queen and their successors, right?
Yes.
I think they need to start pledging allegiance to us and our concerns. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, I can't let this morning go and not speak about this article I saw in the Guardian this morning, where Fred Mitchell is advising PLPs to boycott Dr. Sands. Now, one of the foremost surgeons in the region, right?
Yes.
He is actually asking them to sign a death warrant for those who are in need of the services. That is one of the issues of overreach we have among persons who want to lead us. The Prime Minister needs to put a muzzle on his chairman. Okay? Chain him down, at least for a year. Anyway, I had to get it off my chest.
Yes, sir.
Okay, baby.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Nuri, let's read from that article. It's in today's Guardian.
Yeah, I plan to have a discussion with that too.
All right, so I just could read the headline so we could reference for the audience what the caller was referencing, and then we can get to that conversation in the other hour. Mitchell tells PLPs boycott Dr. Sands' practice. Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Fred Mitchell is urging PLPs to boycott the medical practice of Free National Movement Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands, a cardiothoracic and vascular surgeon, over Sands' recent criticisms of him. We get to that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm prepared to discuss it still, and still discuss it on the other side of the hour. How many people do you think that impacts? Just give me throw out a number. Just throw out any number you want, throw it. How many thousands? Do you think it's thousands?
Okay, so watch this. So we have.
I want to do numbers
No,
first.
I know. We have a problem with non-communicable diseases, right? So the people who would experience heart condition incidents,
Yeah.
or are predisposed to them is pretty high.
Yes.
So I want to say like this may impact 50% of the country. However,
What?
of that 50%, only 2% of that 50% could afford the public.
Throw the
services.
number for me. How many people you think can afford a Dwayne Sands?
1% without insurance.
Well, of course, without insurance.
1%.
So how much? Now give me a number, ballpark number.
So if
people
we
can-
400,000 people, was 1% of that?
The 10% is 40 is 4,000 so far. I'm saying less than 40, and you going all the way to 4,000 people. That's here, not there. The people who Mr. Mitchell is macinating about can choose the best doctors
In the world.
In the world, either it's here, or if it's not doing it, they go to another high-end doctor. I don't deal with rich people issues. These rich people they talking about. My poor self can never afford a doctor doing that.
But who is listening to Mr. Mitchell
Not F&M.
and who's promulgating his messages?
Not DNAs.
Who takes them seriously?
Only PLPs. And those PLPs are cheering him on. You know who cheering Mr. Mitchell on? Mr. Philip Brave Davis. He say he needs him and his antics in order to win the election. He didn't make that clear. He endorsed him and said, whatever he's doing, I approve this message. So why all this fake rage? Oh, we need to muzzle him. How you can muzzle his star? How you can muzzle a Michael Jordan? How do you, the guy from who shoot them 3-pointers now?
Steph Curry?
Yeah, how do you muzzle a Steph Curry who hitting the 3-pointers? How do you muzzle a Klay Thompson? You let them play. You say whatever game you want to play, you play, right? And then let the ball go where it goes.
That's an excellent analogy.
And I don't even do sports.
Except running the country is not a basketball game.
It's not?
No.
You won't believe it's a game they doing? They running on us?
I mean, they trying to run a game.
They running a game.
But running a country is not like a basketball game.
I call it foul. See? It's a game. Foul. You're out of bounds. Time out.
See why I don't have Mr. Yuri on with me on a Friday. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Erin. Good morning, Mr. Neary.
Good morning, ma'am. How you doing?
Mr. Neary, you're clowning this morning and all this wet.
Yes.
Erin.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, listening to what you guys talking about with Mr. Mitchell, we all pray that Mr. Mitchell doesn't need a Dr. Dwayne Sands in the future. Because the persons who you see really and truly need Dr. Dwayne Sands have little to no other choice. So let's just hope most PLPs don't take Mr. Mitchell that serious because they can literally die.
Listen,
You understand me?
Absolutely. I
And
think
to top it off, one of Mr. Davis' other top persons, and the name of the other talk show person on one of the other shows, he talks every day and he tells you Dr. Dwayne Sands is his personal physician.
yeah.
You understand? And the other day he said how Mr. Sands saved his life. He saved a PLP life. The quote-unquote F&M/PLP life. You understand me? So I hope they don't take Mr. Mitchell serious. Because, you know, people who hold politics so high in their personal life, I hope they don't because it can literally cost someone their life.
Absolutely.
Surely there's more than one doctor. No, there's only one heart doctor in the whole Bahamas. People say he said go to the next doctor. That's all.
But that's what people say. But the question is, do we have another doctor that provides the exact same service, with the exact same training, with the exact same certification, with the exact same experience? I'm not saying that any other doctor would then obviously be lesser.
Always be wary of any doctor who's a millionaire. They charging somebody. Someone they charging big bucks. No. That's them lawyer millionaires. A little anxious around them.
There's lots to question. Let's go to the phone line.
Go ahead, caller.
Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Erin and Jason. How y'all doing?
Good,
Doing
thank
well.
you. How you do?
I'm doing okay, thank you. And good morning to the nation. I just wanted to chime in on this particular part of the conversation regarding comments from Minister Mitchell and related to, I guess, National Chairman for the afternoon, Dr. Sands. I believe that we should keep politics in the political arena, and I believe that it's a very sad day in the Bahamas when we, in a modern 2024, allow for politics to interfere with private business practices in the country, and that being encouraged by the leaders of our country. That's a no-no.
Anton, you're concerning me.
That's
Anton?
absolute-
Anton, you're concerning me.
absolute no-no.
This is the
That's-
third time you called the show bashing the PLP saying things ain't going like things.
Listen, Mr.
I'm just saying I'm noticing the trend, Anton.
Mr.
This is the third time you've done it in of recent weeks.
Before I finish my comments.
I was just going to say that's an aggressive way to say that this is the third time you've offered a critique, a very critical interrogation of the actions of your own party. That's all.
Erin and Cecil, when it comes to certain matters that rise to the level of national interest, or that could rise to the level of national interest, I always side with with the best interest of the country and set aside politics. Okay, because politics doesn't arise to the level of national interest, and certainly not beyond the level of national interest, not in my mind, and not in any right-thinking person's mind, I would imagine, right? I believe it would be foolhardy to equivalent politics with medical need, medical services, and medical emergencies, because at the end of the day, as you all started to discuss just now, which I found just as interesting, how many thoracic surgeons we have in the country, right? It doesn't even matter if we had 10, we probably have a hand full of them in any event. The point being, that's a very scarce area of medical support that we need in our country, and we can least afford to play political games with it. I mean, it doesn't even. It could have been a family doctor, which we have 1,000 of them around.
Right, it wouldn't have made a difference.
It doesn't make a difference.
Thank you,
Because
Anton.
we are talking about the health of people, and we ought to catch ourselves, reevaluate the approach that we are taking, because from this point, it can only become 10 times worse going into election. And based on what we are forecasting right now, this would turn into an extremely ugly, personal, and digressive election in 2026. If we don't stand on the wall and call out this kind of behavior for what it is and put a stop to it.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. God bless.
Thank you, Anton. Let's go to the next caller quickly, and then I'm going to respond. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Miss Green. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How you do?
Thank God for letting me just, first of all, say good morning to all your listening audience and everyone in the studio.
Yes, sir.
I want to also send condolences to the family of Miss Priscilla Rollins.
Yes, sir.
Miss Green, I just trying to, I don't know if you could assist me, if you or Mr. Neary could assist me with this information, right? I saw something circulating about a court settlement with Mr. Frank Smith with some $8 million.
That's fake news.
That's fake news?
Fake news.
Oh,
It's
I
good
thought it
fake
was
news,
fake
though.
news,
But
and
it's
I was
fake
trying
news.
to get an understanding of it.
Yeah, it's good fake news.
I tell you what I do. You wait to see if it's in the paper, Tribune or the Guardian, right?
Oh, okay.
And if you don't see it in the paper, like the day after you see the news or the next day, call the Guardian and ask to speak to a reporter. You could do that, right?
that makes
And
sense.
you
That
just
makes sense.
you just say to the reporter, listen, just before I start talking any talk, have you all seen this story? Can you verify whether it's true? And that'll put a reporter onto it, and then they could, they'll make a move.
That makes sense. I just also before I go, I just want to congratulate Anton because I didn't get everything he said, but I think he did stand up and that the chairman continued doing and making against persons. There was personal attacks. And well, for the most part, what I heard from Anton, I think it was some distance himself away from it. So I want to congratulate him if that's exactly what I heard.
Yeah, I think he brought a level of critique that you don't normally hear from party supporters to his party. Yes.
Right.
Thank you so much, caller.
Well, you all have a blessed day.
Absolutely, you too. Have a blessed day. Mr. Newey got a lot of texts here. Text says, isn't Sands a consultant physician surgeon in the public hospital administration? So how does it only affect the rich? If a PLP is on the operating table and Sands walks in, should they cancel surgery? Of course not. It's foolishness what Mitchell has suggested.
It's sedated, maybe? You can't cancel it? See, that's funny today.
Erin, Fred must be don't know Dr. Sands, PLP stalwart counselor daddy spent about $1 million for him to go to that expensive American university and medical school to be this good doctor that he is. He has to be playing politics. First of all, I think it's offensive to even engage in this type of commentary in the midst of a healthcare crisis, right? It's just insensitive, it's offensive, and it suggests that you are overwhelmed by your political role and forget your other roles.
I think the critique is wrongly put. The critique is not on Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell does what he does, and he's good at what he does. The critique is on the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is comfortable with what Mr. Mitchell is doing. So if the Prime Minister is comfortable, allow Mr. Mitchell to do what he does. Now, you may be upset with the Prime Minister. The critique should be on the Prime Minister, but definitely the critique should not be on Mr. Mitchell. We know that he's going to clap back. We know this is his style. And the Prime Minister endorsed that style and in fact heralds that style to say that's the style of chairman I want.
Here's what the problem is. The problem is this. The Prime Minister could relieve Mr. Mitchell of his duties as a cabinet minister.
He don't want that though.
But he can't fire Mr. Mitchell as an MP. And he can't fire Mr. Mitchell as chairman of the party. The party itself has to stand up.
They had an election. The party just stand up.
And the election was rather close. And heavily contested.
It wasn't close enough.
And severely critiqued post-election about the
And
details
the party
of the election.
has decided Mitchell's style. See, this is, now mind you, I have a voice note to play on the other side by Mr. Pintard, where he suggests that this is the culture of the PLP. I think that needs to be interrogated. I think that needs to be accepted, that this is typical of what the PLP tends to offer. And it's a different issue. But you can't be hitting out at Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell does what Mr. Mitchell does. And I love the entertainment of it. I sit back and laugh and say, I wonder how much people could get. I mean, I just chuckled.
It's a wonderful opportunity to moderate, to highlight unnecessary violence and violent rhetoric in politics.
You're trying to say, Mr. Mitchell,
and to eradicate it.
You take that back.
I didn't say that at all.
Before you get in one voice note. I don't want your name be in a voice note. No, stop it. Stop it.
This is a wonderful opportunity to moderate political culture on both sides of the floor, to set an example for those parties we call third parties, to set a standard for future politicians. To understand that a country this small cannot survive with such violent rhetoric.
I love how you better voice
politics.
that, because I don't want you to be attacking the chairman and don't expect him to respond. Because you know he can respond and clap back. And I don't want to hear your name in no voice note, because I got to forward that. I got to forward. Let's go to the caller.
Good morning, caller. We coming to you right now. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Question.
Yes, sir.
If someone says have a heart problem, how would you know the difference between a PLP, F, or DNA?
The blood color. We know who that is if the blood red.
So what's the friend to say don't make no sense? Can you elaborate on that, friend?
Exactly. And doctors don't go in to theater. They don't go in to the office with that on their mind.
No.
Yes, sir.
That's what I would take.
Thank you very much.
I don't wear nothing red or yellow. I'm just saying, just in case.
Mr. Nuri,
if I gotta go to the hospital, I wear green.
That's why I don't go to the hospital at all. My name is Green. I ain't gonna never make it.
I go to the police station.
That is just a joke. That is just a joke.
Purple.
And the point is, Mr. Nuri, that not only must we begin to eradicate this violent rhetoric from politics. But we got to be sensitive. And we say to Mr. Mitchell, your commentary is completely and totally insensitive in the midst of a health crisis. Cannot afford the life-saving medical services that some others can pay for in this country. And on another note, you can't be saying those sorts of things until you commit to getting all of your health care needs taken care of in the country that you govern. I got a text here, Mr. Nuri. It was a good one. It was talking about... I'll have to get back to it. Another text says, why are we even listening to Fred? Didn't he burn the Constitution and send the ashes to Pinland? That's a political advocate, political revolutionary.
And this was political advocates. And then we find out it wasn't the Constitution. I think it was it a remnants of the flag? And of course, history tends to change over the years when one person tell it to the next person tell it. It wasn't necessarily the flag. It was it's like pictures of the flag under protest. Or he tore the Constitution, so the Constitution is dead if people didn't follow
Use it.
So it was a protest, and we got to take it as what it was, instead of the flippancy saying, the intent.
Right.
That's when Fred Mitchell was a star.
A Texas said politics is hit an all-time. Says what we need is CNN and CBS News to pick up on the story about the violent language used and mention the rise in murders in the same story.
Now, that would be entertaining. I can appreciate the texter for that, right? Is our politics violent? Are we violent as a people? And I mentioned it on a previous show before that we are a violent society. It's in our speech. It's in our politics. It's in our leadership talk. This is how they talk amongst each other. So when you picture teenagers, like we're talking about teenagers ganging street people soon, right, on the other side of the show. But when you see that, it comes direct from our leaders. Our leaders are violent in their speech and their actions, from time being to now.
Well, I would say that the political rhetoric and the political culture has ramped up, definitely. And what's worse is, you expect these things to happen. You expect party supporters to become fervent, right? They become almost rabid in their desire to support their party and see the party win. But we rely on party leaders to moderate the behavior of their party members.
I see you going back to the leader of the PLP again. I'm watching you, Erin. Any minute now, I expect you to be in a voice note.
Mr. Nuri, watch this. If I repeat today on the radio the words that were used in a voice note supporting the campaign of Mr. Fred Mitchell for chairman of the party at convention, people would be shamed for Mr. Mitchell and the whole party, even though he did not put the video out himself.
And again, I say that the angst and the frustration that is being levied out is going against the wrong person. I am comfortable with Mr. Mitchell and his antics. The person who you should be concerned is who endorsed him, who is also comfortable with his antics.
No.
And you can't be if you have a attack dog as your guard dog, you don't get mad at the attack dog. You get mad at the owner.
So listen, the texter has texted back and said, Ms. Green, you did not read my text in its entirety and may have missed the point, right? The texter is making the point that it's a bad look for a minister of foreign affairs to be engaging in that type of language, even if it's in his capacity as, right? Even if he is not speaking in his capacity as Minister of Foreign Affairs, that it's inappropriate for a person that holds that position also to be speaking in that manner. And when you juxtapose it with the international story, A, about crime in the Bahamas, and B, about the Prime Minister's approach to crime in the Bahamas, right?
The lady who ran against Fred Mitchell, for chairman, that was
Robin Lyons.
Robin Lyons, right? I think she hinted towards that. And our Prime Minister responded that, I want Mitchell. I want Mitchell. I just want him. Just his style, is what I want and what I need.
Right, Mr. New, you hear the music, right? But I have to say that, listen, you cannot discount Mr. Mitchell's institutional knowledge.
Yes.
His historic knowledge.
Yes.
Right? His governance expertise. You can't discount those. And so you have to, in a small island developing state where you cannot avoid conflicts of interest, we must develop them. We go into a break. We're going to be right back. You guys stay tuned and pick up a copy of The Guardian right now.
Guardian Hot.
So you could follow our conversation this morning. Stay tuned, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We'll be right back.
It's that time of year to join the movement. It's time for the annual Guardian Media's Healthy, Wealthy and Wise Fair, Saturday, March 2nd at the Mola Marathon. Starting at 10 a.m. Admission is free. Come and receive free health screenings by the walk-in clinic, fantastic product info, and sound financial advice. Participate in the exercise demonstrations by Natasha Brown, Outdoor Fitness Bahamas, and RF Exposure. There will also be a CPR demonstration by Superior Care, plus live performances by Blawdy, Johnny Cake, Shine, and Carrington McKenzie, ending with a Saxon superstar Junkanoo Rush Out. Join the movement. It's the annual Nassau Guardians Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise Fair, Saturday, March 2nd at the Mall of Marathon.
March 8th, 2024 is International Women's Day. Guardian Media wants all Bahamians to truly, not just something we should say or something we should write about, it's something we need to think about, know, and embrace. It's what we should believe in unconditionally. This International Women's Day, Guardian Media wants you and your company to inspire inclusion. Celebrate the women in your organization this International Women's Day by placing them in an ad in our International Women's Day supplement. For more information, call 302-2300. or contact your account executive. The aim of the International Women's Day 2024 campaign is to collectively forge a more inclusive world for women. International Women's Day, March 8th, 2024. Inspire inclusion.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Good morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Mr. Nuri, tons of stories. Okay, so 70-room beach club next in Sabas's $510 million expansion. A 73-room beach club located at Love Beach likely marks the next stage in the $510 million real estate expansion being pursued by Sabas Bastian's Brickell Management Group. Documents filed with the Department of Physical Planning revealed that the property development firm headed by the Island Luck Chief is already seeking site plan approval for a series of 4-story buildings that will occupy 4 land parcels straddling both sides of West Bay Street and Love Beach Estate subdivision. The development, if approved, will be located immediately to the west of the Nirvana Beach Bar site. The papers, which emerged as Mr. Bastian and Brickell Management Group unveiled 14 separate real estate projects to the Prime Minister and the media involving a combined $510 million and the creation of 3,290 total jobs, promised that the 7 Beach Club will provide, quote, an enriching experience for both residents and...
Enriching, you said?
For
enriching.
Residents of the facilities and tourists alike.
Erin, you know, I am personally concerned about the housing crisis in the Bahamas. Right? You know, when I hear about high-end projects and knowing that there are Bahamians sleeping in cars, Bahamians sleeping in beach, Bahamians getting their homes bulldozed, and you hear that people with the means who can save the Bahamas because they have spare money, right, are building high-end products. I get wary and say, man, I ain't excited.
You worry about that? I want to know where they can find the electricity to power this initiative with.
That's okay. They can put it on the grid and let it dip.
Look here, I got 2 more residential or property development stories, but...
Is that for working class Bahamians or for higher end Bahamians again?
Well, let's see. Multi-million project aiming to revive forgotten East Nassau. The developers behind a multi-million-dollar mixed-use project to the Solomon Springs Plaza's rear yesterday voiced optimism it will help revive a, quote, forgotten, close quotes, Eastern New Providence if approved. Reaching 7.54-acre development on behalf of a Bahamian family who he declined to name, told Tribune Business that a driving force behind the development is an ambition to end, quote, the stigma that the western end of the island is a lot more luxurious than the eastern end.
Another set of luxurious properties.
Here's another story. Bahamian group developing $20 million condo project. Bahamian firm Nevea Group Enterprises Limited plans to invest $18 million to $20 million on a two-phase condo project in western New Providence, with each phase comprising 10 condos each. The group's president, Marquista Thompson, said yesterday. Thompson said the site for the development is directly east of the Caves Heights development. Quote, the attraction to the site was the location and the beautiful sea views, which we figured our potential clients would find value in.
Another luxurious project.
Right.
Right?
Another quick story.
We can get jobs, too. We can get jobs.
Another quick story. Downtown set to receive smart city infrastructure. You mean like sufficient garbage bins? Or
eradication of the rat problem?
Sufficient pedestrian crossings for the thousands of tourists that are obstructing traffic daily?
Access to restrooms, facilities?
Who use public transportation system and may need to use a bathroom before they transfer to another bus?
Proper bus depots?
Right. Listen, Alive Chief Executive Officer John Gomez said the initiative will enhance the downtown area by implementing high-speed Wi-Fi internet services that will create a comprehensive digital ecosystem. Gomez said the network, which could be up and running in 2 months, will include a paywall. That means you have to pay to use it.
You mean to seem free?
He said the pay scale is yet to be worked out. He added that the initiative, which he called a public-private partnership, will be the first of its kind in the region. I went to Iowa City once. Iowa City has the University of Iowa City, I think. Anyways, a big university. And Iowa City is a bustling college town, vibrant, diverse. They had free Wi-Fi all throughout the city for locals and tourists alike. Guests visiting the hospital, the university hospital alike. Anyway, it's a very interesting story. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Chester Cooper, who also spoke at the signing ceremony, said the Smart City Pilot Project will establish Wi-Fi services from Nassau Cruise Port to the Sydney Poitiers Bridge, Arawaki, westward. All right. Now, Mr. Nuri, my question is, where are they going to find the electricity for all of these projects? On today's Guardian front page, bottom part of the bottom of the fold, officials in contradiction on BPL. An examination of matters related to Bahamas Power and Light, including pronouncements made by government and BPL officials over the last 2 years, as well as reporting by the Ministry of Finance, portrays a story of contradiction and raises questions over what is true and what is absolutely not. The most recent explanation for BPL's $150 million in arrears, as provided by the current minister responsible for the utility, Jo Beth Colby Davis, in the House of Assembly last Wednesday, is in direct conflict with previous details provided.
Impossible.
Colby Davis responding to her, and we're going to turn to page 6. One more turn. Responding to questions asked by opposition leader Michael Pintard, claimed that the government granted BPL a $110 million loan, quote, to address the under-recovery of fuel costs incurred by the COVID-19 pandemic. I understand now because the fuel charge rate policy increase policy was implemented in an attempt to, quote unquote, recover that same money that you need the $110 million for. I don't know. I get it. This is confusing. Quote, the specifics on this loan, including the terms and interest rates, are in the process of being finalized, she stated. Quote, during the pandemic, to alleviate financial strain on our customers, BPL charged a reduced rate for fuel costs, absorbing the difference and deferring essential capital projects. Quote, subsequently, through a glide path fuel recovery strategy, we have been able to recover a significant portion of the under-recovered amount, allowing us to resume and fund critical infrastructure projects. In blaming the pandemic, Colby Davis introduced a new explanation for BPL's woes and also called into question whether BPL had used the recovered funds for the purpose approved by its regulator to cover the build-up of fuel cost arrears owed to its supplier. All I want to know is...
That's a new narrative, by the way.
February 28th? Is it February 24th? I want to know a fuel charge rate reduction as indicated in the policy set out by the Prime Minister. I think that was October 2022.
What I've seen is a trend that Bahamians are forgetful people.
Yep.
This narrative of why there is an increase in BPL was already established some months ago, right? That we didn't take advantage of the hedge. That was going on over and over again. We accepted that's what it was. Now we have a new narrative. Like, how do you create a new narrative when we already accept the old narrative? See, something is wrong with that.
Remember I was telling you, I think that because we did not thoroughly interrogate and flesh out and make public the details of what occurred in the Alstom matter, that we have not created an environment of transparency and accountability. And in the absence of said environment, we will never have certainty about what is going on in this behemoth of an entity that we, the taxpayers, are responsible for funding. In fact, perhaps our and the average person's inability to improve their economic status is because for a major portion of their lives, your light bill was the same as your mortgage. But I tell you what, somebody needs to fix something. Mr. Nuri, I'm going to copy and paste this entire article. I'm going to read it. We are all out of time.
Yes, we're going to come back to that and analyze that.
Yeah, later.
And how the narrative changing.
Later in the week, I'm going to go back in my notes and...
I'm not sure if it's proper to challenge JoBeth Colby, though. She didn't say this is the narrative.
I'm not challenging JoBeth Colby. I would never challenge an individual, but I can critically interrogate what it is that they say and what emanates from their ministries.
I'm watching you, Erin Green.
That's not the same thing. I wish they were watching the cost of fuel. Anyway, there were a couple of stories if we didn't get to. Pilot able to walk away from plane crash on Coral Harbor Road. Police seeking family of home was assaulted by teenagers on top of it. And if you go to today's Guardian, there's a story there. Pilot survives plane crash. And right next to it, Bahamas to be site of SpaceX landings.
That's nice, eh? Splash in our waters.
I mean, you can't have an accident if you splash in the water. Once you don't splash on the ground, right?
Yeah.
I used to be sort of becoming accident prone. I just want to interrogate that a little bit more.
More like they're just going to use our waters anyway, and they said that we decided let's capitalize on it.
Who you think would be enforcing those traffic controls?
Not us.
Thank you for tuning in to On the Clock this morning with Erin Green. Mr. Nuri, thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure.
You guys stay tuned to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. To all our listeners, to our texters, thank you for tuning in every day and contributing to the conversation. We can't do it without you. You guys stay warm, stay dry. Guardian Radio AM and CA Nuri is up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.